Hello everyone, I am Surrendalot Reviews and I'm back, and I'm ready to look at some more Generation 1 Transformers. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can't convince you, perhaps this picture of my cat will convince you. And random fact about my cat society is that there is one warlord kingdom where they decide to kidnap some random dude and make that person an emperor. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the first episode we're gonna look at is, thank you. Where this thing here ends up wreaking havoc on the Autobots. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with Megatron creating, thank you, again. Where he is going to send to go wreak havoc on the Autobots. And, well, really does a good job at wreaking havoc on the Autobots. But luckily, Sparkplug has an idea.
This isn't the time for jokes, Sparkplug!
I just figured you'd all want to know where that comes from, so just figured I'd put it here. And luckily, Buttplug's plan works. And, well, the Autobots are unfortunately unable to catch the thing, and the thing also goes to Japan, so the Autobots have to go there. But unfortunately they realize, too late, that they forgot to protect Omega Supreme, so yeah, Omega Supreme's out of the picture right now. And that thing is really wreaking havoc across Japan. You know, I just love how the people here just don't even react or just sound mildly concerned here. And he eventually gets to an electric plant, which, as Optimus Prime puts it, is like a bull in a china shop. And, well, Blaster manages to catch the thing. But unfortunately, this here happens.
Oh. Here comes that sinking feeling. Oh, man.
Anyways, so the Autobots have to find a way to contain all these Kremzeeks, and, well, they have the great idea of luring it with a power plant. But unfortunately, that ends up creating a Mega Kremzeek that they have to now contain, and it's currently wrecking Tokyo, I guess. Meanwhile, the Decepticons are using an energy magnet to try to suck the planet dry. And that gives the Autobots a bit of an idea after seeing the power go out and them actually being drained of energon to use an antenna to just send Kremzeek over to Megatron for a change. And the Autobots manage to disperse the thing, and as it turns out, Blaster has some more and they have to go through the entire thing again and the episode ends. And overall, I will say that Kremzeek is actually a pretty good episode, and a lot better than I remember it. I will say that I like at the end, where basically the Autobots managed to turn Megatron's weapon that was used to destroy them against Megatron, and ultimately Megatron's quest for power and to destroy the Autobots ultimately came back to bite him. And I thought that was a great touch. And I also like how Megatron creates something really, really small and what seems to be insignificant in terms of scale, and ends up making it into a huge headache for the Autobots. And I also like how Buttplug ends up coming up with a way on how to insulate the Autobots to basically prevent them from, you know, getting zapped by Kremzeek. And I also like the end where the Autobots are forced to have to destroy this thing, and I also like the end where Blaster ends up accidentally creating more of them. And overall, I highly recommend this episode. But without further ado, on to the next episode, which is Starscream's Brigade, where Starscream creates a brigade to overthrow Megatron. Without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with a flashback to the Battle of Guadalcanal during World War II, and we get to see a lot of destruction. Meanwhile, in the present time of 1985, there is trouble at Decepticon headquarters with Starscream, yet again, trying to usurp Megatron, and he fails, again. And Megatron, getting tired of Starscream, decides to just exile him to Guadalcanal, where Starscream stumbles upon something interesting.
What the? A wing from an old fighter plane the flesh creatures used in their wars. There must be more of this stuff lying around here. This thing must be huge. Reminds me of that two-faced loudmouth Blitzwing. Yes. If Megatron can have his Blitzwing, so can I. Me and what army? I'll show him what army.
Anyways, so Starscream goes to Cybertron, and he steals some personalities from the Decepticon Detention Center of Renegade Decepticons, and we get introduced to the Combaticons.
Combaticons! Transform! Brawl! Swindle! Blast off! Vortex! And onslaught!
And the Combaticons agree to follow Starscream just so in that way they could, get some energy to live. And in the first battle that the Combaticons are in, they actually manage to defeat Jazz and Cliffjumper and give a victory to Starscream. Meanwhile, back on Cybertron, Shockwave tells Megatron that somebody had mysteriously stolen the personality components of those renegade Decepticons, and Megatron thinks that Optimus Prime did it. And after a bit of back and forth between the two, they realize, something's a bit amiss, and Megatron retreats because he thinks he knows exactly who stole those renegade Decepticons' personality components. And Teletran 1 tells us exactly who these renegade Decepticons are.
Renegade Decepticons are political prisoners detained on Cybertron. Under direct orders from Megatron, Shockwave had their personality components removed from their structures. The structures were subsequently destroyed. Until yesterday, the personality components were stored in the Decepticon Detention Center.
Meanwhile, back with Starscream, he manages to successfully ambush Megatron, but unfortunately Megatron gets away. But in the process, Starscream and the Combaticons manage to capture 2 Decepticons, basically dwindling Megatron's numbers a bit. And back with Starscream and the Combaticons, well, they are now getting attacked by Megatron. And they seem to be doing pretty well up until Devastator comes into the picture. And then we get to this scene here.
I have prepared for this emergency, Megatron. Combaticons, merge into Broticus!
Bruticus angry. Bruticus devastator.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. When I saw this 3-4 years ago, this scene alone made me want to do this entire series. Just because I don't know what I love about it. I mean, I just kind of like how Bruticus's voice actor sounds like they're just waking up. And, like, they're super tired and they're just so pissed off at whoever woke them up. And that's why they're just gonna charge at them. I have been wanting to do this for 4 years, but I'm gonna show you exactly what I think happened just in the voice recording studio, which I think went something like this here.
Bruticus angry. Bruticus devastator.
Anyways, So, Bruticus does manage to devastate Devastator, and, well, this scene here happens.
So, Megatron, now will you kindly tell the world who the new Decepticon leader is?
Never!
Bruticus?
No!
Now, Megatron, who is the new Decepticon leader?
Enough! You are.
I can't hear you!
You are.
I am now the leader of all Decepticons!
Anyways, so the Stunticons come in, and they manage to defeat Bruticus, and Megatron has Starscream simply exiled off of planet Earth, and the episode ends. And overall, I will say that Starscream's Brigade is probably the best episode in the entire series, bar none. And I really like how this episode's focused more on Starscream and how Starscream's the main character in this episode, instead of, you know, one of the Autobots. And I also really like that one scene where Bruticus was being formed. I thought that was pretty funny. I always did. And overall, I highly recommend this episode. I also love the introduction of the Combaticons, how they were really made to just overthrow Megatron. And overall, I really like this episode, highly recommend it, but I think with that, that's gonna do it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.